natural hair is deemed unprofessional because it doesn't conform to whiteness.
I think in the workplace, definitely people think that there's an odor or it's not professional, it's not neat, that is distracting.
It takes a lot of courage to sort of wear your natural hair, and a lot of people don't even talk about the psychological effects of it as well.
When I first saw the New York Times article, I thought I was looking at like a Black History Month celebration of something that happened a long time ago.
I thought it was an amazing step that we're actually putting words to the fact that kinky textured hair and certain types of protective hairstyles are connected to race.
To kind of reinforce a problem that we have in society, because a lot of our biases are unconscious, so passing this bill, it makes people have to deal with their own biases.
Any law that prevents you and what grows out of your head or the color of your skin is an old-ass slave law that has been overturned in 2019, which is shocking and awful when you understand how it affects the well-being and self-esteem of an individual.
I felt like finally the law is on the side of people of color. You can go to work without the fear of reprisal, and your appearance, especially the physical traits that you were born with, those things are not important. What is important is the quality of work that you put out.
There were a number of things that led to the creation of the guidance. We did have these cases where we were seeing people come to us and telling us that they had applied for jobs or they had been in jobs, and then folks had told them that the way that they wore their hair was inappropriate, not consistent with company policy, and that they had suffered consequences as a result. But we were also seeing some of the coverage in the national news around incidents where people were being stigmatized and facing all sorts of consequences simply for wearing their hair in these styles. Often what happens and why employers might gravitate towards these policies, or why they may think that they're okay, is because the policies are often a reflection of like really long-held racist stereotypes that have been in place in this country.
There are so many misconceptions about natural hair. Probably the biggest one is that there's a connection between wearing your hair naturally and a specific political statement.
There's a lot of thoughts that having my hair out means I'm a certain person. I'm like loud and disruptive.
There's this movement of natural hair and people are coming forward. They're not afraid to talk. The amount of claims has gone up approximately 20% for race-based discrimination between the years 2016 and 2018 as of last year. In some instances, the discrimination was explicit. For example, having a grooming policy where you actually ban braids. In other instances, it's also implicit, where you have this grooming policy, however, it's only being enforced against Black employees.
I never felt pressure to change my hair for work. Now, I will say I was scared of how my hair would be received at work.
There are definitely moments where I feel a little nervous to show up to work with my hair in a certain way. I've been thinking about doing box braids for the first time. I'm already anticipating the questions I'll get from coworkers and the looks and the comments, and I'm worried about how to field those.
I remember when I first went natural, I was in a really kind of progressive, liberal university environment, but I remember kind of explaining why I'm going natural to some white coworkers, and one of their responses was basically kind of out of nowhere, so you're doing this to see how white people respond. And I remember just being really shocked that how could a decision that I'm making somehow still center whiteness.
I was working as an editor of a magazine, and my picture appeared in the magazine every month in the letters to the editor column. Somebody wrote in and actually asked, why don't I comb my hair? Which I found really odd, because of all the things I've written and all the material that's in this magazine, this is what this person is focusing on.
My family's from the Dominican Republic, and there's a term that I very much fight called pelo malo, which means bad hair. My hair is not bad. Don't say that to children. Don't say that to the people calling their hair bad, because that makes them feel bad, and like there's something about them that is innately, against society or unacceptable.
When I first started wearing my hair natural 2 years ago, I remember my mother saying, "What are you doing?" I think it was just fair. We've been told, wearing your hair straighter is what's more acceptable. So I feel like she was sort of afraid of what I might be faced with, or maybe she thought people would judge me.
I think the most challenging thing about being a Black person in America or a Black woman in America is that you don't really know why people are responding to you in the way that they are. Are they responding to you that way because they're having a bad day, or because you're Black, or because of your hair? The bottom line, it is an undue burden that these are questions that I have to kind of figure out.
Natural hair has its way of giving women their agency back over their hair.
Some people are doing it because of health reasons, and some people are doing it because that's how it grows out of their head and it's just normal.
We're going through a period where Black women and women of African descent feel a certain level of self-confidence.
That tide is shifting where they realize, I don't have to do this. I don't have to keep my hair straight just to fit into a mold that someone else has created.
Definitely the advent of YouTube helps, because one of the things that you need when you go natural is support. Concrete support, like what is it that I do with this new natural hair texture, and you need emotional support. And I think that it really represents a place for Black people to come and heal racial trauma.
Today, I'm natural, and I can count on my hands how many of my friends have relaxers. And that is completely a function of there just being more community around it, and more brands, frankly, recognizing the power of us as consumers and catering to us.
I think there are a lot of other things that need to happen after the laws have changed. Number one, I think that there needs to be really widespread anti-bias training. Part of that is beginning to unpack and dismantle a lot of these beliefs that we're all grown up with.
I think it's about changing state board cosmetology laws so that professionals can be the gatekeepers that they were called to be inclusive of everyone's hair texture. It's slowly changing, but there's no mention of the word kinky or curly in any of those textbooks in your theory classes.
I think visibility is also important. There's tons of stylists that are out there doing natural hair, and it's showing that this type of hair can make it in Hollywood, it can make it in school, it can make it at your club. Nothing's wrong with the hair that grows off the top of your head.